So here's the first one. Knowing that both of you met at Parsons School for Design, how later did you two decide that you wanted to partner with each other back in 1988?
We were both working for other designers at the time, and we were working so hard. We figured we couldn't work any harder, so why not have our own companies? So we were each going to start our own company. You know, we were going to do Badgley, I was going to do James Mischka, and then we figured, why not just combine our efforts and sort of team up against the outside world and do it that way. And it's worked out okay.
It was only 2 years after we graduated from college.
Okay, because I was wondering, because I was reading the information up, and it said that you both were at the two separate houses. So I was just wondering how long it took before you were like,
2 years, and we're going to each do our own thing. Like James said, we decided to team our efforts instead of, we had the same aesthetic. We knew we never obviously would have gone into this had we not agreed on a,
right, it would have been
on a vision, so.
Great. What would you guys credit your success to?
We've always been loyal to what we do. I think some designers try to be everything to everybody, and I think that's hard. I think you have to stand for, something that you believe in. James and I have always loved glamour. We started during grunge when clothes were anything but glamorous.
Right.
We don't try to do office clothes. We don't try to do that. There's a thread of glamour in everything we do, and I think that consistency in the long run has really paid off.
Your inspiration with glamour, is that because of the movie eras, the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s?
Yeah, we're always inspired by old Hollywood glamour is our inspiration and a perennial influence on us.
I love 20s fashion. I like fascinators. I love coaches. Anything like from that era, I love. And I love that style is definitely coming back. Who was the first celebrity to wear your clothing line?
I think in a big way it was Winona Ryder.
On the food.
We dressed her for an Oscars or Terry Hatcher, the two of them.
Terry Hatcher was the first, and then Winona Ryder was right after that. And our first magazine cover celebrity was Whitney Houston.
Oh, awesome. That's amazing. So is there anybody else you would love to still see in one of your designs?
Yeah, there's always someone coming up through the pipelines. Yeah. Who would you say, James?
We've had... Who haven't we done that we want to do?
Actually for old guard, not old guard, but for established girls, we always wanted to dress Uma Thurman, and we never did.
We did.
For magazines, but we never did anything for her, like for the red carpet. And to us, she's very old world glamour. She's kind of that look.
She is.
And we'd like to get to her.
I'm sure it'll happen. Tell us more about Mark and James. What was the inspiration between trying to reach a younger market and at a more affordable price point?
It was kind of funny because a couple of years ago, we had there's this whole new crop of celebrities, these young girls who are, coming out of the Disney training school and now had become movie stars in their own right, and they were asking us for dresses to wear to premieres, to parties, and Badgley Mischka itself is a little too serious for those young girls. Although we do sell to young girls for a lot of events, but they want something short, sexy, sassy, fun. So we decided to do Mark and James for those girls for those parties, and it's really resonated to a lot of younger girls, and actually not just younger, but every aged woman across the country who just wants that sort of more spunky, sassy look.
Still glamorous, but
still glamorous, but shorter, yeah. Right. Basically shorter. That's basically it.
I have a traffic and readers, and so I asked my readers to give me a question to ask you guys too. And so one of my readers would like to know, what is your motivation for moving forward and becoming the forefront of fashion?
Good question. The motivation to, I think, us in this business is that it's also what makes it the worst business, but you constantly get to start over. You never get bored, and I think the gratification you get out of constantly being able to start over and having to start over and express yourself and express your creativity. There's not a ton of businesses that work that way to the extent that this one does, and I think that's really what makes it so fun and fresh.
Constantly have a change, it's constantly evolving.
Constantly evolving, constantly getting to try something new, and it's just very gratifying from a creative point of view.
That's great. I feel like I'm in a rut with my job actually. And this brings me to my next question for you, James. I saw that you started off as a biomedical engineer, and I'm actually a chemical engineer. I graduated with my degree, and so I do engineering during the day, and I do fashion at night.
Wow.
So I wanted to ask you, where was your, what occurred that made you decide that you didn't want to do biomedical anymore, and you wanted to go into art history, and then eventually into fashion? I'm kind of at that.
Calculus happened to me.
I hate calculus.
It's like after calculus, when I went to Rice, that's where I was at school for biomedical engineering, and it's a really difficult career. And also, I realized I was going to do artificial limbs. That was my goal because I was as artistic as you could be in an engineering field was what I felt at the time. And I realized I could go into a more artistic field. That's what I really wanted to do. So I was able to switch into art history, and then eventually into fashion design at Parsons. So I was little baby steps, but I eventually got there.
That's you, where you wanted to be. That's great. And then I have a question for you, Mark, here. Did you foresee that you would enroll into a design school after you started to pursue a business degree, or was it an impromptu
The
change?
business was really never me. It was more a practical family kind of, thing. I always knew I'd somehow wind up in the arts or design. It just took me a little while to get there. But, we both had some of that background education, which always comes...
It was very useful.
It's very useful, you know what I mean? I think in this day and age especially, you can't just be completely just left to just nothing but a creative spirit, because unfortunately we have to combine some commerce in what we do, or it just can't survive, you know what I mean? Right. So, unfortunately, things work out for a reason. I got a little bit of that in my system, but I always knew I was going to shift over to a design type, career.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like you can't be one-dimensional.
You really can't. Now, especially now more than ever, I think.
I think I started off in engineering. Well, same thing, like I need to have a stable income, but because of my engineering degree, I'm able to do stuff like this, and I never would have thought that I'd be sitting here with the two of you successful, amazing designers. I'm like so excited. I love fashion. Just one more question then. You've accomplished so much already between the two of you with your designs. So what's next do you see for Badgley Mischka and for yourselves?
I think our next big push is rolling out our retail stores. We've got one in Beverly Hills, one in Palm Beach. We're just about to open one in New York, and then we're rolling it out across the country to about probably 5 to 10 more stores across the country in the next couple of years, and internationally as well. So that's our big push is retail, because you can really get your vision across that way. It's not just a small part of your collection in a store, it's your entire collection and your entire vision in the store, which is great.
Great. What about individually?
Individually, when it comes to our work or design work, I don't think designers, or in my opinion, you never really completely shift gears. I think you just evolve, and you're always trying to perfect what you do, and over time you have that luxury to really sort of reflect and sit back and see what you've done, where you've been, and to us, James and I try to start a new collection each season. And we're always trying to refine it and make it better. And from a professional point of view, that's kind of what, we're not like looking to take over some big other project or build this crazy empire. We're always trying to just perfect what we do, and make our product as perfect as we can for our consumer.
And I do have one more minute here, and so that when you were saying that about collaborating and taking over, I made me wonder: are you any plans in the work to do a partnership with like an H&M, like Versace and H&M?
We don't. We've certainly had conversations, but it's so unless it's the perfect partner combination, it's just not that interesting to us. We've got plenty of projects in work and certainly plenty to do.
Right.
So we're pretty content and happy just sort of staying on course and doing what we're doing.
It also doesn't interest us to do just a one-shot collaboration, because we're kind of like the tortoise. We're like slow and steady, and we like to do things that build and build and build and build. It don't just like go in there for a big one-shot thing and then you're out.
Do it fast and rushed. And
it's not
kind of not what we're all about.
Okay, well that's great. Well, it was very nice interviewing the both of you.